It's just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdate 210506.2. Poppadoms have been acquired. Curry night is back on. I think I'll have myself a Ferengi Balti. Now, if only I knew where some fresh Ferengi meat could be obtained. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we have 5 subjects and 1 honourable mention to go through. And we're going to start with the honourable mention because it's a direct shot at me. Wasn't you begging for people to pay for your pet's surgery? You can't judge or speak about anyone. Most people receive critical questions in comments all the time, but I do want to correct this early. Not my pet, my sister's. And I did promote a GoFundMe, something I replied to in the comment. To which you then replied, how pathetic, get a real job, no hate, just honesty. Firstly, I am self-employed. I have been since 2014. Thank you to Sheeple Crowd Control in 2016 to present though, the places where I worked are still yet to open, meaning I am still unable to get back the work I once had, which I will get on May 18th I believe. The argument could then be made that perhaps I should get another job, forgetting that the majority of businesses are still operating under restricted hours, and there's also a huge gap in the market. So this YouTube became my job, and while it's not the most profitable of jobs, rub them earlobes everyone, it still paid for my bills. It does not include the 3 other pets that we lost over the last 12 months, that being 2 dogs and 1 cat, all of which was paid for by me. So I appreciate the honesty, and I hope that this response helps you best understand that the impossible situation one was placed in forced one's hand to ask for assistance. And as an update to that situation with regards to my sister's dog Spooky, she is being booked in for surgery on Tuesday next week. So to the first subject, we're going to go to Florida Man, or in this case, the Florida Men. Yes, there's more than one. A man and his 3 sons who have been indicted for marketing a product that they call the Miracle Mineral Solution. This is such a miracle mineral solution. It is also capable of curing COVID-19, cancer, Alzheimer's, autism, and many more ailments. Which is quite interesting because it does cure one additional thing, which we'll get to in a moment. The family in question, Mark Grennan, Jonathan Grennan, Jordan Grennan, Joseph Grennan, sold more than $1 million of this miracle mineral solution. So what does this miracle mineral solution contain, you ask? It contains sodium chlorite and water. Now when it is used and ingested orally, it becomes chlorine dioxide. So that additional thing it cures is life. You don't need that anymore if you ingest this because it becomes a rather potent bleach. Does anyone remember the memes of Chris Ray Gun with a big bottle of Clorox, going into shops, drinking, air quotes, bleach? Yeah. Well, this is the more literal one because it's been marketed as a cure for, well, a bunch of things, not least of all, autism. I mean, it's not wrong. It cures you of autism, but it also removes your life from the equation. Not ideal, I will admit. Now, the Federal Food and Drug Administration did warn last year that these men were accused of marketing through the Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing, and that the product itself, the Miracle Mineral Solution, was unproven and potentially harmful. Because these men are absolute geniuses, yes, the church is connected to this, they had a rip-roaring successful workplace, a shed in Jonathan Grennan's back garden. So they've been charged with conspiracy to commit fraud and criminal contempt. The maximum sentence for that is life in prison. If they get sentenced at all, or are found guilty and then sentenced, do expect the halls of injustice. So while we're in the ballpark of criminals and crimes committed, we're going to go to a woman called Karen McBride, who 22 years ago rented a piece of film, a VHS, from Blockbuster. But the part that really stings here is that she never returned this product, which means yes, she is committing felony acts here. For example, embezzlement of rental property in Oklahoma, which is where she rented the movie from. Not that she remembers. Now, I'm sure many of you can all agree with me here. McBride needs to go down for life. One does not take out Sabrina the Teenage Witch and not return it. Although it's also possible it was her ex-boyfriend that did it for his 2 daughters at the time, and therefore she knew nothing about it. Well, she was in fact charged with embezzlement. And yes, the case was thrown out. I know. But 22 years for a VHS tape is quite a while. Quite amusing. You're right, the sentence should be 22 years in the ISO cubes, you're right. Everyone, I'm on this. She's going there. Send the judges. As a minor detail though, McBride didn't know that she had actually had an outstanding warrant against her until she tried to change her name on her license after getting married and moving from Texas to Oklahoma. I personally still stand by my sentence. 22 years ISO cubes, it's all your fault, not the man, never the man, getting there right now. Perhaps now will be a good time to move on to a different subject, before I end up turning this into an actual Halls of Injustice on 2 sets of crimes. A year ago, when pandemic boredom set in, Josh Swain, a 22-year-old college student from Tucson, Arizona, messaged others who shared his full name on social media and challenged them to a duel. Hundreds of people turned up at an air park in Lincoln, which was chosen at random by the way, to partake in the festivities, which included and I'll air quote this, grueling and righteous battle of rock, paper, scissors between all the Josh Swains from Arizona and one from Omaha, Nebraska. Interestingly, Josh Swain won the competition, which allowed him to claim the title of the one true Josh Swain. Rather interestingly, another contest took place, and this was open to anyone with the first name of Josh. The winner of that competition would be coronated with a crown and be considered the one true Josh of Arizona. The competition winner was a 5-year-old, and the crown was a Burger King crown. I just want to share this because it amused me to no end. It was trending on Twitter. The silliness was insane. So many Joshes, and part of me did wonder if perhaps any of them would change their name to Josh Jr., Josh 2.0, the other Josh, inferior Josh, with the winner receiving the real Slim Josh, God tier Josh. Okay, moving on to serious subjects now. Anderson Park Primary School in Moseley, Birmingham recently updated their regulations for teachers when it comes to how they choose to address students in their classrooms. The head teacher, Sarah Hewitt Clarkson, pioneered this idea of removing certain language as a means of not encouraging sexist language at a young age. These would include phrases like, "Man up," "Let's go guys," "Good morning boys and girls." To assist with this and to promote it further, students as young as 3 are taught to hold up posters flagging these sexist terms. And because this is also a bit of a contest, the 2 students who find the best examples are rewarded with certificates at the end of the week. This particular school has come under fire before, when Muslim parents and children protested against lessons on gay relationships. I personally don't see a reason in teaching it at that young age, but understandably that wasn't the focal point when it was reported on. Miss Hewitt Clarkson actually did speak on British TV show Good Morning Britain. She said that sexist language was damaging to children, and that fast forward a little bit when the children are older, just to see why this is so important, because it's a tiny part of a huge jigsaw. We've seen in the last year the biggest ever rise in child abuse, in grooming, and if our boys and girls grow up in school, we don't challenge this sexist language and boys are told, "Man up, grow a pair, don't cry, boys don't cry," it is very damaging for them, and abusers later on potentially, or bullies people they walk past on the way home from school, will also use this fear. And fear is the biggest weapon that abusers have. And if boys are told, boys aren't afraid, boys don't get scared, boys don't talk about their feelings, then where are they going to go when they are afraid and they are frightened? Understandably, the majority of parents who have commented on this have said the following: "Teach my kids to read and write. None of this hocus pocus bollocks. Thank you, goodbye." And also I want to say, just for the sake of it, You're using sexist language in your own speech there, Hewitt Clarkson, when you say boys and girls. Bit hypocritical, don't you think? So to go to our final subject, we go across the pond, but we stay within the realm of education, where a 14-year-old called Brandy Levy let off some steam in a profanity-laden social media post in 2017 aimed at her school, her team, and everything. This has gone to the Supreme Court, by the way, and the argument is whether or not schools can discipline for off-campus student speech. The answer should be no, because of the First Amendment. But that hasn't stopped this from going to the Supreme Court, where oral arguments were heard yesterday, and all of this stemmed from the fact that the Snapchat messages that Brandy Levy had posted, which another student had screen grabbed, got her booted from the junior varsity squad. My view on this is the same as it always has been. I don't agree with Twitch doing this, which is what they do if you do something on another platform and they're like, no. Do I think free of consequence? No, there's no such thing as free of consequence. But should the school be kicking her off a squad for something she has said away? The answer is no. It should not have in that context. But we'll certainly find out what happens when this is all over. The family of Brandy Levy are the reason this has even gone to a Supreme Court in the first place, and I wish him nothing but the best. As we're done, I'd like to know what you all think. Please do let me know in the comments down below and really drive up that engagement. Yes. If I don't see you on Twitch tonight, because I'm going to stream some Murder Fun Time Assassin's Creed 1 there, have a fantastic day. Thank you all very much for listening.